All right, good afternoon, everyone. This is Nithin Ramachandra from the NR Hour Sports Show. This is episode 963. We are live on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor, and all those podcast platforms. So please, fans, tune in. I got a special treat for you. I got a special guest. His name is Mickey Jannis. He's a knuckleball pitcher from the Baltimore Orioles. What a great story. He worked hard every day throughout his career. He's been through a lot in the minor leagues. Finally got his shot last year with the Orioles in the major leagues. We'll get to his inspiring story. I can tell you this: his first major league strikeout was against Yardon Alvarez against the Houston Astros, which I like. But first of all, Mickey, I just want to say thank you for joining the show. It's truly an honor. Glad to have you on today and sharing your inspiring story, obviously to our fans. So first of all, how are you and your family doing?
We're doing good. We're just grinding away the off season. So I've been working here and there, and then my wife's full-time fitness director at a health club out here, so she's been working, and we've been chasing around our 2-year-old daughter pretty much every day. So that's what we've been up to.
Yeah. So first, before we get into your journey, just describe to our fans. Obviously, growing up in Nevada, you were born in Nevada. So when did you get interested in the game of baseball, and did you play any other sports, and who was your role model?
Pretty much grew up in the game. My dad was a coach of pretty much every sport. Coach mostly when I was growing up, it was mostly baseball, but before me, it was football and basketball and tennis. So I grew up playing all the sports, depending on whatever season it was. My mom was a tennis player. So that was kind of the second sport I loved. Played that through high school. Played a little bit of basketball. Never played football, but always, enjoyed watching it and things like that. But pretty much grew up in the game. Going to the dugout with my dad at a young age, and just kind of grew from there. But I'd say, baseball was always my passion, and that's what I always felt like I had the best future in. So I stuck with that mostly through high school. But like I said, I did play tennis too. And, I think just my parents and my sister were my role models, just watching them work hard every day. And especially my dad, watching his passion for coaching and teaching me the game and, learning about the game and, but taking a little bit of everything. My sister played tennis through high school, so watching her play and her passion for that. And then, so I was just played a little bit of everything. And
Wow. Yeah. So did you ever think to yourself, maybe you could have been a two-sport athlete? Obviously, you played tennis, but like a two-sport athlete at the same time, like Bo Jackson or Michael Jordan?
No, I don't think I was at that level with tennis. I pretty much played 2 months out of the year for just when it was just the high school season. I did get to be pretty good at it, and sometimes I wish I would have went after that a little bit more just to see where that would have taken me. But my true passion was baseball, so I didn't really want to get away from that. But it would have been fun to try and pursue tennis and see where that would have ended up as a more of an individual sport.
Yeah.
So it's kind of everything's on you instead of obviously you do like the team atmosphere and being in the locker room and things like that, but some things are out of your control in baseball. So having that individual sport might have been a little bit different journey.
Would you say tennis helped you out a lot with the movement and all? Because obviously in tennis you got to move around, and baseball sometimes the ball comes to you, or if the ball comes towards you, you have to get the ball. Would you say tennis helped you in that along the way like that?
Oh, definitely helped keep me in shape. That's for sure. But yeah, definitely the quickness, like off the bat of the ball. I was always a two-way player through high school and a little bit in junior college. And I always had really good quickness off the mound. And I know coaches have always enjoyed that and like that about me, how I can field my position. So, and being a knuckleballer, you get a lot of weak hits and weird swings and things like that. So you really have to be able to field your position, just because you have to do everything well, because if one thing goes wrong, with the knuckleball, anything can happen, where, it's not like you can get away with a 97-mile-an-hour fastball right down the middle. If you don't throw a good knuckleball, it's going to get hit out of the yard, really.
Yeah.
So just being able to adjust on my feet and be good at all aspects of pitching, fielding, and fielding my position, holding runners, things like that. I think every little bit of tennis has been able to help me keep my quick feet and things like that.
Yeah, speaking of two-way players, obviously we have one right now, Shohei Otani. Did you ever think to yourself, maybe you could have been a two-way player, being a hitter and a pitcher?
No, I mean, I always wanted to, but I think I was never very fast running the bases. Like I said, I was pretty quick on my feet, like in the field, but as far as like running the bases, I wasn't very fast. So I think that kind of slowed me down, and you could kind of tell that like pitching was where I was going to succeed, and that was kind of like where it started turning into just a one-way player as pitcher only. And obviously I love playing every day.
Yeah.
So it hurt at first, but in the end it was like, all right, you can kind of see like I actually have a future in this. So I got to kind of stick to pitching.
Yeah. So tell our fans when I had Stephen Wright on the show last year, and he's a knuckleball, obviously, and you got Ari Dickey, Stephen Wright, Tim Wakefield. Even I had Patrick Mahomes' father on the show 2 days ago, and he said he even threw knuckleballs at some point in his career. So for you, when did it start for you? Tell our fans about your knuckleball process.
Yeah, so when I was like 12 or 13 years old, I watched a special on Tim Wakefield, and just kind of picked it up from that. I saw that he threw it with two fingers, so I switched over to a two-finger grip, and he throws it at the top of the horseshoe, where I kind of turn the horseshoe around and throw it at the bottom of the horseshoe. But really, there's no difference in it, just as long as you can take spin off the ball. And for me, that grip worked a lot better than his grip. But I did like the two-finger grip, so that helped a lot. And then just kind of fooled around with it and went out the next day after watching the special and just ripped it at my throwing partner, and it was really good. And from that day on, it was just like every day after playing catch, you just throw 10 to 15 knuckleballs at your throwing partner and, have some fun with it. But, I kind of realized that it was actually really good. And I'm like, well, I'm going to keep throwing this just to have it. You never know what might happen. Especially knowing everybody else's story, where it's pretty much that's how it comes about. It's like, well, I was a conventional pitcher, and then, just kind of plateaued at a level or got hurt or whatever. And, I had a good knuckleball. So I was able to switch to that. And so I was just kind of kept it in my back pocket until, threw it once or twice here and there in summer ball or high school and that type of stuff. And, it's always fun when I break it out and throw it, but realized I never really needed it until when I was with the Rays. I got released by them after 2 decent seasons, but they were both at the short season level, and I was an older senior signed college draft, and they just didn't have a spot for me anymore. And I kind of looked at myself and was like, I'm an average right-handed pitcher throwing 88 to 92, sinker, slider, changeup. Like, the odds of me sticking out, in independent ball, because I knew I wanted to keep playing.
Yeah.
Throwing that, I was like, I really have to dominate just to get seen again. And I just really felt like I was like, I know I have a good knuckleball. Like, let's try this. So that way, when a scout in independent ball shows up to the field or something, it's like, oh, well, this guy does something different. He throws a knuckleball. It's not just a right-handed pitcher. So that's kind of the view I took at it. So it was a long journey through independent ball. But yeah, that's how it all started.
Wow. Yeah, you see, Stephen Wright told me that he fooled Jose Altuve with his knuckleball. Yeah, so
yeah, he's fooled quite a few people, so he's had a good career.
Yeah, so for you, what's it like learning from him and R.A. Dickey, Tim Wakefield, as I mentioned, and what's it like learning from those type of knuckleballers that had success in their careers?
Yeah, I've always tried to, just watch their games and just kind of see how they pitch with it and how they how they chase hitters and go after them and attack them. And I've always compared myself more to R.A. Dickey's style of knuckleball than anyone else. But I've also tried to just like kind of take a little bit from everybody that I've watched and just kind of go like, well, he did this really well. Like, let's try this and, see if that worked for me. If it didn't, then a whole lot of with the knuckleball is trial and error and just throwing, whether that be to some hitters or just into a brick wall, which is mostly my throwing program in the off season, just because it's so hard to find a catcher or throwing partner every day that is willing to play catch with me, you know. But yeah, I've just tried to kind of mold myself into a little bit of everything that all the knuckleball pitchers have done well. You know, I've had probably the most conversations with like Tom Candiotti, and he always told me that he viewed himself as a pitcher who throws a knuckleball, even though he threw knuckleballs more often than anything else. But you know, I think that's kind of the approach that I've always taken, is that I still have a fastball that can touch 90 and I still have a really good slider. So I like to mix those in when I can, especially on days when the knuckleball isn't working as well, just to keep the hitters off balance. Because if the hitter knows you're throwing a knuckleball, they might get a little bit too comfortable in there. So, you know, you got to mix in the other pitches just to keep them honest.
Yeah, so speaking of the draft, and you got drafted by the Rays in the 44th round. How relieved were you once you got drafted and being with your family, waiting for your name to be called, and worked hard throughout your high school career, independent ball, going through independent ball, and finally getting into your dream? With and how exciting was that for you and your family?
Yeah, I mean, it was just, you know, it was really exactly that, just kind of like a sigh of relief, just
Mhm.
because you just don't know, and especially that late in the draft, you're just like, just give me a chance, just give me
Yeah,
a chance, just give me a chance, you know. And you're sitting there through 3 days of the draft, and you know, it was actually kind of funny when I heard my name called, I kind of like checked out for a moment, just going like, gosh, am I gonna get this chance, you
yeah,
know? And then all of a sudden in the back of my head, it was like, you hear like Tampa Bay Rays select Mickey Jannis,
mhm.
Cal State Bakersfield, and you're like, wait a second, that was me. And then you like run over to the computer and you like check the
Yeah.
draft tracker, and you're like, holy smokes! And then like your phone starts blowing up, like,
Yeah.
hey, congratulations! Like, I'll call you when the draft is over, and that type of stuff, and just, you know, just call my family, telling them,
Wow.
and all that kind of stuff is just like really exciting. And then, you know, kind of had the same feeling after playing an independent ball,
Yeah.
just because it was a long process of 3.5 years where I was just like, am I ever going to get a chance to throw a knuckleball and an affiliated ball and get that opportunity? And another reason I started throwing it was because R.A. Dickey was having success, in the year that I transferred to throwing the knuckleball is the year he won the Cy Young. So it was like, you know, I can throw it hard like he does. Like, maybe this will open doors and an opportunity for me. And you know, again, it took 3.5 years of not really getting any calls from scouts, not knowing what's going to happen, just going out there and pitching. And I had good numbers in independent ball, but it is independent ball, and you just don't really know what they're looking for. You kind of, a lot of it is just finding a connection that is like, all right, I met this guy, and he's like, once an opportunity opens up, like we'll sign you or something like that. But you know, I never really got any of those, and it was just
Yeah.
like, you know, going into 2015, it was basically like, this is my last year. Like, if I don't get an opportunity, like, I don't know how much longer I can keep doing this. And went out, had an awesome first half of the season, and the Mets called, and I was just kind of like the same feeling as getting drafted, like just like a sigh of relief, like finally, like
Yeah.
somebody's like taking a notice and giving me an opportunity. And that's all I ever really want. Even now, like being a free agent, like I just want an opportunity with a team to show them the knuckleball and believe that I can be a successful major league pitcher.
Yeah. So speaking of Tampa Bay Rays, they love to homegrown their pitchers, whoever they draft. Or were you surprised? Obviously, you spend a lot of time in their minor league system. Were you surprised that they let you go, even though the record is bringing in homegrown pitchers? Were you surprised that they let you go, not give you a chance?
I mean, I don't think as a, you know, once you get drafted, like, especially if you're having success, like you never really see it coming. So like it's definitely like surprising that I got released, but at the same time, when you look back at it, you're like, okay, you know, they really didn't see me as like a major league pitcher, and that's pretty much the bottom line. Is like, all right, well, we have this many spots and we have these pitchers. Like, who do you think has the best projection to make the major leagues? And they just didn't see that in me for whatever reason, and so they just, you know, that's just kind of how it goes. And you know, and that's kind of what I've always felt, is that like I always had the confidence in myself that I could pitch in the major leagues, you know. And at first it was a conventional guy, but then I kind of looked at it like maybe I won't get an opportunity doing that, so I don't really want to keep pursuing that. And I know I have a good knuckleball in that, you know, that might be my path. And it turns out it worked out in the end. Took a little long journey, but you know, my book has a lot more chapters than some other guys, but you know, I still made it there.
Yeah, so now after that you go to the Mets and you spend time with the Mets minor league system, and that's the year that they went to the World Series but lost to the Royals. But what was it like coming to New York and finally having a team that's interested in you, and obviously R.A. Dickey used to pitch there. So did he reach out to you, or did you reach out to him when you went to New York?
No, I actually never got the opportunity to talk to R.A. Dickey, but I know the one of the pitching coordinators that worked closely with R.A. Dickey was able to learn from him, and then he was the one that was interested in me as another knuckleball pitcher. He was kind of a guy that liked quirky things about pitchers, like the submarine guy. I know he worked with Brad Ziegler in Oakland, and then obviously R.A. Dickey. So he liked different things, which is really what you need as a person who throws a knuckleball. Like, you need an open mind of just like, okay, he throws a knuckleball. This is gonna, you know, you're gonna have some good days, you're gonna have some bad days. It's just gonna be a wild ride, you know. And so being able to learn from him, my first full season was 2016, and he basically tried to clone me into R.A. Dickey, which really wasn't who I was, with the abbreviated windup and things like that. But I did take some things that he taught me and basically combined it with how I pitched, and that's what happened in like 2017 when I started turning it around in affiliated ball, and took that into 2017, 18, and 19. And you know, just kind of, like I said, just kind of combining a little bit of everything that I've learned throughout the years, and making it part of my game of what I felt worked best for me and my game.
How tough is it for you spending all this time and all these years in the minor league system, working on your craft, trying to get better as a pitcher, and not getting the call up until last year? How tough is that for you?
I mean, it's just the way I always looked at it is just go about your business every day and control what you can control, because a lot of times call ups and promotions and demotions or whatever are just outside of your control, and really all you can control is how you prepare for pitching every day, and you know, going about your business the right way. So you know, at times obviously you look at it and it's frustrating. Why is this guy getting the opportunity and not me? Or why is that guy, this guy, you know, whatever. But you know, it's all part of the process. And you know, like I said, some teams like the knuckleball, some teams don't. Some teams, you know, who knows, you know, what they're looking for. You know, they call up somebody just for one day, or they call up somebody, you know, a prospect. You really don't know a lot of time what's the plan for every player, and some players don't even have plans. So it's just, you know, professional baseball is just so tough, where, you know, like I said, I just try to control what I can control, and a lot of times that is tough, but you know, that's part of the game and part of the grind. And you know, sometimes what makes it fun, but also makes it suck. But you know, that's like I said, that's part of the game.
Wow. Yeah, so now January 17th, 2020, you signed a minor league deal with the Orioles. Obviously, that came at tough timing with the COVID situation, and they canceled the minor league season. So once you signed that deal, and once you guys heard that the minor league season was canceled, how tough was that for you? And what did you do? What did you continue to do to train?
Yeah, I mean, at first, you know, everybody just thought it was going to be a couple weeks. That's what made it so crazy. And then it was like, oh no, it'll be months. Nope, 2 months. Okay, it's completely canceled. And you're just, you know, you're sitting at home still training and things like that. So you're just trying to stay in shape in case something happens. Especially me being at the upper levels of the minors, you know, you kind of just hope, not hoping for an injury for anybody, but just hoping for an opportunity. So you're just and obviously you really didn't know if that was going to come or not, so you just kind of had to stay in shape. And you know, I was throwing live BPs to some hitters I found out in Arizona, so we would just go to a park and throw to some hitters, and indoor facility if there was one around. So just trying to find basically whatever I could do to stay in shape and throwing, and you know, working out in the backyards as the gym's closed, and things like that. So it's just basically anything you could find just to stay in shape and stay ready.
What did you learn as a pitcher from the last 2 years, from 2020 to now? Obviously with limited stuff to work with in 2020, but 2021, that's when everything little by little things started to open back up for athletes. And then now you can see the full thing coming back to fruition. So what was the main thing that you learned from 2020 to now?
Just I feel like just the way that the year 2020 happened, it's just kind of like it was almost like a baseball season. Like you just got to kind of stay on your toes and just kind of be ready for anything. And really, like one of the best terms I hear is like write your plans in pencil because they're always going to change. And that's really how it's been. Is just like, my wife was back at her gym, and then her gym closed, and then it was open again, and then it closed again, and it's just kind of the same thing where it's like, hey, stay ready, you might get an opportunity. Hey, you're a couple calls away. All right, I'm ready. How's it looking? And you're just kind of like just sitting and waiting, and then when you get that little bit of stability, going into the 2021 season, it's just kind of nice to get that routine back of like being at the field every day. And there were some things that changed with COVID protocols and all that, but like I said, it's just kind of like going with the flow of things and getting the work in when you can. And no matter where you were, it was just kind of like, all right, well, I can't work out at the facility today. Like I'll work out at the hotel gym, or, get a workout in my room or something, just trying to stay in shape that way, and just making sure I get my work done when I need to.
Yeah. So what's it like? Speaking of your wife, and what's it like to have a resource like her gym there? If you can't work anywhere else, you can just go there. And what's it like? What's that been like for you? And seeing your wife work hard too, and having that gym.
Yeah, I mean it's been a great resource for me for the off seasons, getting my workouts in there, and having her there to keep me accountable for my workouts and making sure I get my work in when because every day you're not waking up going like, I'm ready to work out. Some days you need a little bit extra motivation. So making sure she holds me accountable here and there, and and being able to work out together too, I think helps. So that makes it fun.
Yeah. So now in June 22nd, 2021, you get the call up, selected the 40-man roster. Where were you at that day, and what was it like when you heard that news, and how proud of is your family that was that day when you got the call up?
Yeah, I mean I remember pretty much every second of the phone call from my manager. I just kind of woke up, was in my hotel room in Norfolk in AAA, and looked down at my phone, and I see Gary Kendall, our manager's name, pop up on my phone, and I'm like, all right, well, it's usually something with the pitching rotation. Like our pitching coach usually calls me or tells me something. So I'm like, there's no way I've been pitching bad enough to get set down or anything right now. I'm like, no way. So I was like, this has got to be it. And sure enough, he called, and he was just like, hey, Mick, I just wanted to let you know the Orioles want to select you to the 40-man roster and call you up to the major leagues today. You deserve this moment. I wish I could tell you in person, but we had an off day the day before. So he's like, I'm driving back from home, but I wish I could be there to tell you in person. Just go out there and do what you do. Handle your business the way you do here. Go out there, shag BP, get your work in, and just be yourself up there. Like, congratulations, and best of luck.
Wow, that's amazing. And after that, what was the first thing you did with your family once you got the call up? And obviously you worked your ass off throughout your career, and you finally got that call up. So what was the first thing you did?
Yeah, I mean, I was just trying to call everybody I could. So first called my wife, then I called my sister and my parents, and all that while throwing everything in my suitcase that was in the hotel room, just packing up, and it's like heart racing, just like so fast, and just like, so it was just like trying to talk to as many people as I could and let them know, and then also trying to catch a flight in a couple of hours. So it was definitely a crazy day.
And you made your major league debut at home at Camden Yards. What a beautiful ballpark to pitch in or play in. I never been there yet. I need to go there. That's my bucket list. When the Yankees go there, I gotta go there. But you made your debut against the Astros, and I hate the Astros. And thank you for striking out Yordan Alvarez. So take us to that major league debut. And then when you were pitching against Houston, you came in late. And what was it like for you just pitching on the mound in Camden Yards?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of nice to have that first day of not pitching, so I could kind of take it all in. And then the second day, I mean, as much as I could, I was trying to like treat it, like another game, and like everybody says, but obviously it's not. And it's really just hard to put into words everything that was going through my head, and the whole experience of being up there and being able to pitch the one game. I just remember, warming up, and obviously have a ton of adrenaline, and just trying to keep it in control, like not so much just like block it out, but just like trying to control it, obviously. And I felt like I did a pretty good job of that. But I do remember the biggest moment that I remember was like jogging in and then get to the mound and throwing a couple warm-up pitches, and then you hear never hear anything on the PA's announcer or anything like that, when you're pitching. And then all of a sudden, for some reason, I just heard like our announcer say like making his major league debut, Mickey Jannis. Wow. So I was like, that's when I kind of like stood on the mound and just kind of had to sit there and kind of like, all right, I'm actually on the mound right now. Like, all right, let's go. And then just kind of, like I said, just tried to focus as much as I could on making my pitches and, throwing the knuckleball. So it was just, like I said, it's really hard to put into words everything that was going on, but it was just a dream come true, really.
So I'm just curious, when someone makes their debut, especially for a pitcher, the important thing is chemistry with the catcher on the same day. So for you, did you have time to talk with your catcher before? Obviously, you don't know if they're going to come in or not, but is it important for a pitcher who got the call up to talk to the catcher right away about chemistry? Or
yeah, I mean, I knew Austin from AAA a little bit in the alternate site last year. I never really threw to Severino. Okay. But he was nice enough to come down to the bullpen the day before, like on the first day I got called up on the 22nd, and actually Austin Wynns and Severino came down to the bullpen, and I was able to throw like 10 pitches to each of them just to get them a feel of like being back there, because really like I could give them all the advice they want as catching a knuckleball, but it's really just seeing it and reacting, and like, because it's really something that most catchers haven't seen before. And if they've seen one, it's been like one good one and then the rest not good at all, from like another position player. So just getting that feel back there. And, like I said, Severino was good enough to come down to the bullpen on the day that he was actually catching in the game. How many catchers are catching bullpens before they catch in the game? So it was cool to see that. And then, like I said, Wins had caught me a few times in AAA and at the alt site, so he had a little bit better feel of it. But it's basically just reacting once you get out there, So
wow. Hey, the Orioles are set up for the future. They got you played with some great young talent there, and the catching depth is unbelievable. I love Pedro Severiano, who he brings veteran presence, and especially also Wins. What a great story he is, working hard too. And I'll ask you about the roster later on, but I want to ask you about to tell our fans about your pitch sequence against Yordan Alvarez. Obviously, you struck him out, and what goes through your mind when you face a hitter like that?
I mean, really, with the knuckleball, it's kind of a strange thing, because it's really just like, you have, for me, like I have an idea of like where I'm throwing it, not exactly like the movement I'm going to get, but when I'm throwing to like a certain location, I kind of get the same movement. So I have an idea of like what I'm trying to do. So I kind of break it up into like quadrants of the strike zone in a way. So like up and in, up and away, down and in, down and away. So really, first pitch, I kind of like there's no way he's swinging first pitch. Like he probably hasn't seen a knuckleball like ever in his life. So he's probably taken. So I'm just trying to get ahead really with it. So I think I got strike one, and then I think might have thrown a ball the next pitch, and then got strike two. I think he fouled it away or fouled one off 1 and 2. And when I get ahead in the count, I'm trying to throw a firmer knuckleball more higher in the zone, kind of like a high fastball in a way, throwing that top shelf of the zone. And that's really what I was trying to do. But I mean, it's such a strange pitch where like usually, you try to throw a fastball top of the zone, it's going to stay up there. And once the knuckleball leaves your hand, it's still going to do whatever it wants. So it's just, it was just nice to get that first one out of the way, especially, get a little bit of a relief where it's like, all right, I got one out. Like, not that you're trying to like, take anything away from the next hitter, but it's just, like the nerves drop down a little bit once you get that first out in a way. So, obviously the adrenaline was still through the roof, but yeah, it was just nice to get that first one on the first batter out of the way, and just go after the next hitter again, and kind of the same approach like first time through the lineup is just trying to get ahead of guys and put them away the way I felt like I could, and work the first time through the lineup. Second time through, I was a little, I think I was running out of adrenaline and just kind of wearing out on the just the whole thing. But yeah, it was just an awesome day on it. Forget about the results. I think it was just a great experience and awesome to be there.
Yeah, I mean, I posted that video too on my Instagram, so people know. But yeah, so I want to ask you, what was it like pitching in front of your family and having your family there at the game?
Yeah, I mean, it was just great that they were all able to make the trip out there and made it for the game. Had a couple friends there as well, and it was just you don't really think of it until like after the game or like before the game when you go see them, that type of thing. But it's always awesome to have that supporting cast, and I've always had one of the best ones. So it's always good to have them there.
Yeah. Now speaking with this young talent, you play with Ryan Mountcastle. What a year he had! You got Trey Mancini, man, a cancer survivor. If you go down the list, there's a lot of great young talents. What was it like just playing with this young team and having a manager like Brendan Hyde?
Yeah, I mean those guys were awesome to play with. They're all very nice, and come up and talk to you and congratulate you on your debut, and having conversations. I feel like nowadays you get to know them a little bit at the lower levels too. So like being in the Mets organization, I faced those guys. So they always come up to you and they're like, oh, I remember facing you and so and Double-A, and you were nasty, man, or I hate the knuckleball, that type of stuff. So it's always cool to have fun conversations with them, and especially around the knuckleball, just because it's such a different thing. It kind of sticks out, so everybody kind of remembers it as the knuckleball. And I really like the staff there. It was all very, very awesome and easy to talk to, and so it was just a good all around experience.
So obviously you were up close with Cedric Mullins. How good is he? This guy, Cedric Mullins.
Yeah, I mean it was unbelievable how awesome he was for them this year, and I remember him. Like I said, I remember him a couple of years ago where it's just like in Double-A, I'm facing him, and I'm like, what is? I do not want to get this guy on base. He's going to steal second, steal third, and just his all around game. And then he showed the power this year too. It was just unbelievable, and his story was pretty awesome, especially after the last couple of years that he went through. He struggled for a year, and again, being in Double-A and pitching against their Orioles Double-A team, and I was like, Cedric Mullins, where do I remember this name from? It was like from a year or two before, and I'm like, what is he doing here? I was like, oh man, he's struggling. And then just to see him turn it around and just to be able to see where he was at, being Major League All-Star and everything like that, it was just unbelievable.
Yeah, he's regarded as one of the best outfielders in the game right now.
Yeah, watching him track down fly balls is it's fun to watch.
Yeah. So also speaking of another inspiring story, your teammate Trey Mancini. What was it like playing with him, and what did you learn from him? Obviously, cancer survivor. He missed most of the year when he was going through that, but coming back strong, having a great year, and working hard. And what was it like just being his teammate? What did you learn from him?
Yeah, I mean, just a good leader to have around, and not being there for very long, so you kind of just watch it and take it in, not necessarily like hearing their voice all the time, but just like watching them go about their business, and especially the perseverance that he had to overcome for surviving cancer and coming back to even play one game, let alone an entire season, and do it at the level that he did it was just so impressive and just awesome to watch all year. Yeah. Whether it be in the major leagues or on TV or wherever you got to watch it from, it was just awesome story.
Yeah, so this is a two-part question. 2 days later after that game, you got designated for assignment. How tough was that for you? And the next part to this, did any other teams have interest in you throughout when you were a free agent that time of at that time?
Not that I know of. I mean, you kind of just like sit around and wait for a phone call, hoping that another team takes you on that opportunity. But at the same time, like, I was with the Orioles and they gave me the opportunity to pitch in the major leagues. And when I did get DFA'd, they said, although your debut wasn't the best, like, go back down to AAA and pitch well, and you might get another opportunity. And unfortunately, that didn't come this year. But there's still possibility in the future. And like I said, they were the one team that gave me my opportunity to pitch in the major league. So it's if they came calling as a free agent right now, I would hesitate to sign back with them. And the opportunities are still there. So as far as I know, I don't really know how to find out if teams are interested in you when you get DFA'd. You just kind of sit around and wait for the phone call. But they did have some good things to say. Obviously, it was extremely tough just thinking, like, especially after pitching one game, everybody's like, hey, first of many, kid, that type of thing. And, you kind of like, not that I took it for granted, but you're just like, okay, through like 75 pitches in the game, probably take 2 days off and then I'll be ready to go again. And then next thing you know, a couple of things happened in the game the next day and they're like, well, we need pitching, so we gotta send you down and call up somebody else. And you're like, man, it happens so fast. You kind of don't even realize it. So it's hard to, it's like I got the opportunity, but the best thing I could do, again, another thing that's out of my control, show them a couple good innings and a couple bad innings, and just go back down to AAA and hopefully build off the good innings and do my best to get another opportunity. That's all you can do, really. Just perform on the field again.
Yeah, so fast forwarding, obviously the Braves winning the World Series last year. So what have you been working on so far coming into this year? And are you planning on to add another pitch to your arsenal, or you keeping a secret?
No, I don't think I'll be adding anything. It's just mostly working on my craft and learning how to change speeds with it, and just being as consistent as I can. Just because if one thing is off with the knuckleball, it could throw off the entire spin of the ball. So, and obviously you don't want the ball to spin. Yeah. So it's just getting that consistency down and making sure my mechanics are right, and just making sure the body feels good.
Yeah. So what's it like now having some time, even though you're still training, working out, getting the next opportunity? What's it like just spending time with your family, with your kid, and just living life right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's enjoying my family. Like I said, chasing around my daughter, and it's getting pretty exciting with her. She just turned 2, so she's getting to be at a fun age. You're starting to see her personality come out, and just being able to see it in person and hang out with them in person is just so much better than watching them over FaceTime on a screen. But one thing of the pandemic that did come out good was that I was able to be at home for a full year with my daughter for the first year. So, she really was able to realize who daddy is. Basically, she knew when she saw my face on FaceTime, it was like, that's dad, or heard my voice, So like that was pretty special, even though, I didn't get to play a season in 2020. I was able to spend the full year at home. So it was a good year to to have that happen in a way. So it's just been fun to be around my wife and daughter and watch both of us together watching her grow. So
Yeah, so I want to ask you, what are your thoughts on Shohei Otani, man? This guy is a generational talent. I think this is the best player I ever seen since Babe Ruth, but I don't want to get to that far yet. But he's getting there pretty soon. But what are your thoughts on Shohei Otani so far?
yeah, I mean, it's just unbelievable what he's been able to do, and I'm sure the wear and tear of playing every day and trying to go out there and pitch every fifth day is just so much on the body, and just watching him be able to go out and do it the way he's done it at that level is just, obviously it's just never been done before. So it's just, you're sitting there watching it and you're just like, wow, this is a generational thing that you're gonna be able to watch, and you're just hoping that he can stay healthy and be able to do it for a long time, just because you do realize, like, I've played 13 years, although not at the major league level. It is very stressful on the body and things like that. And he's playing them
Yeah.
both ways, and he's doing it every day where, you know, he's getting 4 days off in between is nice, but, just to watch him go out there and compete every day, whether it be in the batter's box or on the pitching mound, is just unbelievable to watch what he's been able to do.
Yeah, actually, Alex, I don't know if you heard this. Alex Rodriguez put this in a good way. He compared his pitching to Max Scherzer, and Alex said he compared his hitting to Bryce Harper with the speed. And do you agree with A-Rod?
Yeah, I'd say that's a pretty fair comparison. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad I haven't had to face him yet, but look forward to that possibility in the future. You never know.
Yeah. So a couple more things here before you go. Obviously, we got a retirement news yesterday with John Lester. What a great Hall of Fame career. Obviously, pitching a lot in the AL East and a couple of different teams. So what are your thoughts on John Lester's legacy, his career, and do you think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer?
And I don't know about first ballot Hall of Famer, but he has an unbelievable career. The same type of thing we were talking about with Trey Mancini, just watching him overcome cancer early in his career, and what he's been able to do. Not only in the regular season, but also in the postseason, just being a clutch pitcher for Boston through all those years, and even in Chicago, and just being a staple in the rotation. Like I said, just being healthy most of his career. Just watching him just be a different pitcher and being able to adapt year to year, just because, at the beginning of his career, he was throwing a little bit harder. And then towards the end of his career, obviously wasn't throwing as hard, but, he was still in the rotation every day, 5-6 innings. You could count on him every day. And just watching him go about his business too was just very impressive.
Yeah. So now, if you get that next opportunity outside of Otani, which hitter are you most looking forward to facing?
Oh man, I don't know. That's a tough one. There's so many great hitters in major leagues, even in the minor leagues. But I'd look forward to having some rematches with guys I faced in the minor leagues, like Vlad and Rafael Devers, and probably the two toughest hitters I ever faced. And you're watching what they do in the major leagues now is just so impressive. So you're kind of looking forward to those rematches, but also looking forward to what you can do against guys that you've never faced before, like Bryce Harper, Mike Trout, and guys like that is just fun. But also, like, some of the other guys, that had phenomenal years last year, like Marcus Semien would be a fun matchup, and again, like, I don't really know how many guys have faced a knuckleballer before in their career. So it'd be like interesting to see, just because, you get so many different approaches from hitters. You get a guy who, against a conventional pitcher, it's like, okay, he really likes to work the count and take pitches and see pitches, but you're a knuckleball pitcher and he might go up there and swing at the first pitch just because he wants to get in and out of there so fast, and then you get other guys who are first pitch swingers and they're going up, well, I'm just going to take it till I get 2 strikes because I don't want to swing at this stuff. So it'd be like, just try to just be interesting to see how guys kind of approach the knuckleball if they've never faced one before.
Who do you think is the best? Who do you think is the best pitcher right now in the majors right now?
The best pitcher?
Yeah.
I mean, if I needed one game to win, it would be hard to bet against Max Scherzer.
Yeah.
Honestly, the fire he has behind his games and watching him perform in the postseason and every day going out there and competing, it would be tough to go against him.
Yeah, it's gonna be scary to see DeGrom and Scherzer in the same rotation. That's gonna be scary.
I know. Yeah, that's not fair. I know that much.
Yeah. So before we get to the last two things here, what advice would you give to younger pitchers or younger baseball players that have to go to the same that been through this part of the same story as you, going to the minors, spending time in the minors for a while? So what advice would you give to them?
I mean, honestly, it's just say believe in yourself, and just in a way just have that confidence in yourself that you can get to where you want to be, because you're going to have so many different coaches and players and friends and family tell you different things of, throughout your career, but it's truly about, how you feel and how confident you are in your career, and, just believing in yourself. And then the other thing would probably just be, like we talked about earlier, is just control what you can control. And, there's a lot of outside things that affect the way you pitch or, your career. And most of it's out of your control. So really just believing in yourself and control what you can control when you're out there.
All right. Do you watch NFL?
Yeah.
Who's your NFL team?
Sadly, the Minnesota Vikings.
Oh, I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
This will be a good matchup this weekend.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on these playoffs, real quick? And then who do you have winning the Super Bowl?
Oh, I mean, it's hard to bet against Aaron Rodgers right now. I think he's on a mission. And then in the AFC, I think Kansas City's playing really well.
Yeah.
Especially, and it's not just their offense. I feel like their defense has really stepped it up the second half of the season. That's made them tougher. And I think with their defense and their firepower on offense, it's going to be tough to beat them. But crazier things have happened. So you always look at it going like the 1 and 2 seeds are always going to make it, but then somebody steps up and surprises you in a wild card or whatever. So it'll be fun to watch. There's some really good matchups this weekend.
Yeah, I can't wait till we face the 49ers. It takes me back to the 90s with the Golden Rush.
Yeah, I know. I saw that matchup, and one of my best friends is a 49er fan, and I was giving him a hard time. So
tell him that I'm a Cowboy fan. So
all right.
But the last two things here, our team is part of this foundation. It's called the Hugh Jackson Foundation. He's a former NFL coach. He's now the head coach for Grambling State. We're trying to help him prevent human trafficking, making sure the community stays safe, the kids stay safe. So we'll send you the foundation so you can go check it out.
All right. Awesome. Yeah, I'll check it out.
And the last thing here, would you like to say anything to all the nurses, doctors, and all the essential workers right now?
Yeah, just thank you for all your hard work and keeping the country healthy as best as you can, and really putting their lives on the line out there sometimes, and just thank you.
Yeah, well said. And before I close this out, would you like to plug anything?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, but this wraps up episode 963 with Mickey Jannis, knuckleball pitcher, made his debut last year with the Orioles against the Houston Astros. I'm gonna keep saying this. I like when I say this. He struck out Yordan Alvarez for his first major league strikeout against the Astros. So thank you for joining the show, Mickey. I'm hoping you get another opportunity to come back in the majors, and you deserve it. You worked hard, and you have an inspiring story. Thank you again for sharing your story on this platform. Keep up the great work, and you and your family stay safe. And thank you again. And we would like to have you back on the show one day so you can meet the full team. But keep up the great work.
All right.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thanks for having me.
No problem.